You ever feel like you're not good enough for what God has called you to do? I think we've all been there before. Can't figure out why God chose us when there's so many people who are more qualified for this than we are. Maybe you're called to preach, but you're not good at speaking in front of people. Maybe you're called to teach, but you don't understand the word that well. Maybe you're called to evangelize, to lead the lost to Christ, but you have a hard time following Christ yourself. And maybe you feel like you're not good enough because your whole life you've been told you're not good enough, that you'll never amount to anything. We all have that one thing that we let hinder us because we think it's a stumbling block. I was on Tumblr the other day and I came across a post that I had liked from a while back, and it gave me confirmation on the message that God has told me to give you right now. And I'll read it to you. Peter had a temper, David had an affair, Jonah ran away from God, Paul was a murderer, Thomas was a doubter, Moses stuttered, and so on and so forth. And those are all people who God called to do great things. Don't you think God knew our flaws even before He called us? Don't you think He knew our inabilities already? In a world full of people who seem to be better for the job than we are, He still chose us. And here's why He chose us. He chose us because He sees something in us that He doesn't see in anyone else. In 1 Samuel, the Lord sends Samuel to find a king. So He sends him to the house of Jesse, the Bethlehemite. And he sees Jesse's son Eliab, and he pretty much thinks to himself, this is the one that God has sent me for. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. The Lord won't always choose the biggest or the strongest, the smartest or the wisest, or the most handsome or the most beautiful. And Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. And Samuel said to Jesse, the Lord has not chosen these. Then Samuel said to Jesse, are all your sons here? And he said, there remains yet the youngest, but behold, he is keeping the sheep. And Samuel said, send and get him, for we will not sit down until he comes here. And David was chosen to be king, because God saw something in David that He didn't see in his other brothers, because He looks on the heart. Jesse made all his sons pass by Samuel, except for David. And when you notice that, and you notice the names that I read from the Tumblr post, doesn't it seem like God chooses those who seem to be the least likely to get chosen? And maybe you think that you're least likely to be chosen, and you could probably think of a few good reasons that you shouldn't be chosen. But let me tell you, the same reason that you think you shouldn't be chosen could be the same reason that you are chosen. For consider your calling, brothers. Not many of you were wise according to the worldly standards. Not many were powerful. Not many were noble. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, even the things that are not, to bring to nothing the things that are. So whatever you think is hindering you, just know that God can turn your stumbling block into a stepping stone. So don't count yourself out, because God counts on those who are counted out. That's all I have this week, and God willing, I'll be back next week with another word from God through me for you. God bless.